Okay, the governor's invitation comes as the U.S. is tracking a big drop in tourism from around the world.
Spending from foreign tourists expected to fall $8.5 billion this year compared to last year.
America's trillion-dollar tourism engine is collapsing right now. Flights are empty, borders are tightening, and entire cities are going quiet. But this isn't just about canceled vacations. It's about power, reputation, and the terrifying price of becoming the world's least welcome destination. Could just months of policy missteps wipe out over $12 billion in tourism? People are booking, then canceling almost immediately. But what's really driving this sudden hesitation? It's not just money, it's fear. And where that fear comes from might surprise you. Travelers are rethinking their US destinations and rerouting overnight. This isn't a slow quarter, it's a wake-up call with a troubling realization. What if the United States is no longer the world's dream destination? Today's video is more than just the airports or train stations. Keep watching to see how this directly affects you, even if you're a non-traveler. Last spring, something that was festering underground began to hit hard on the surface. In March, the number of travelers coming from Canada fell nearly 20%, and land border crossings dropped over 35%, according to Reuters. That same month, fewer visitors arrived from Western Europe, 28% fewer, and the UK saw its tourist numbers shrink by 18%. Australia was down as well by 7%, and other countries followed the trend too. Air Canada, one of the major carriers to the US, was forced to cut several routes and delayed flights. Ferries and coach tours to national parks stood largely empty. In New York, local tourism officials reported a sharp drop in bookings at museums, Broadway shows, and hotels. One traveler from London, who typically packed flights, remarked, "I've never seen this many empty seats. It felt like a ghost train." We know all these and more, but just how bad does it get? Adam Sachs from Tourism Economics said, "We're looking at a much weaker tourism engine choked by tariffs and rhetoric. It wasn't just another slow day. It was a slowdown that cut deep into the economy. And if you think this only affects airport staff and hotel clerks, think again, because the next wave hits your community. When travelers stay away, the first change is the hush that falls over hotel lobbies and souvenir gift shops. That symphony of chatter, clinking glasses, shuffling footsteps. Those sounds fade fast, but the real pain hits deeper, and suddenly quiet streets mean closed businesses and lost paychecks. Tourism weaves through so many parts of the local economy. When flights land, restaurants buzz, tour guides talk, cab rides turn, but when tourists thin out, those businesses go quiet. Restaurants see empty tables. Guides find no groups to lead. Hotels cut down staff. And even the folks who sell postcards and keychains start stacking them back on the shelves. Then comes a ripple effect. State and local governments rely on taxes from hotels, ticket sales, and dining to fix parks or run community programs. Without that money, budgets get tight. Roads go unpaved longer. Parks shut on weekdays. Teachers and bus drivers feel the squeeze. And we haven't even touched the ripple effect. The part where schools, parks, and public services start crumbling because no one came to visit. It's not just happening in big cities like New York or Orlando. Coastal towns, highway rest stops, small museums, and heritage sites, these places live on visitors. They can't hide an empty quarter. When tourists vanish, tax revenue dies too, and local leaders scramble to plug holes in school budgets and human services. And the world is noticing. Canada and Mexico are telling their citizens to stay home or pick friendlier spots. Spain, Portugal, Japan, Costa Rica. Suddenly, Americans aren't reaching the top of the wish list anymore. It doesn't just cost tourist dollars, it costs cultural influence and soft power. Then the politics steps in. Some countries are issuing travel warnings. Others are smiling about boycotts. European sites, Canadian forums, they are telling people to stay away from US airports. That quiet simmer can quickly bubble into a full boycott. Even travelers applying for fast-track visas are hitting high fees, sometimes over $1,000. It becomes a financial hurdle, not just a passport stamp. Willing visitors don't want to deal with that. Suddenly, a quick trip feels like a big chore, and on vacation, expectations matter. And now, the world's expectations of America are changing for the worse. Let's talk about what that really means for the country's future. The dominoes aren't falling, they've collapsed. And when something cracks at the foundation, everything trembles. This isn't some minor dip. It's a structural crack in how America shows up to the world. The consequences don't stay in tourist towns. They spread to business conferences, student exchanges, and even job fairs. And when the world starts clicking, don't visit, reversing that mood isn't easy or fast. And we haven't even touched yet on the fallout on a macro level. When tourists stop coming, the signs are immediate. Hotel lobbies, once humming with chatter, grow cold and quiet. Museums go empty. Cafes and restaurants lose their evening crowds. And souvenir stores close their shutters earlier and earlier. We barely notice at first, but soon the effect ripples outward. And that's when the real damage hits. Tourism is more than fun photos on Instagram. It is a system made of people and places, waiting to welcome visitors. When planes stop landing, restaurants lose their dinner crowd, tour guides don't get bookings, gift shops shut up early, or sometimes forever. And the money tourists bring, that spending comes from wallets and disappears into nothing. Soon the question might be, if the world doesn't want us, what do we do next? But wait, it goes deeper. Cities and towns use the taxes from hotels, tickets, and meals. They rely on those dollars for firefighters, parks, schools, and road repairs. When travelers don't come, those services get squeezed too. It isn't just people in tourism who feel it. It is entire communities. And it isn't only happening in big cities like New York or Orlando. Even little beach towns or mountain resorts that depended on summer crowds are feeling the squeeze. Hotels are half empty, bus tours are canceled. The machine that used to run full speed is now sputtering, stately, and broken. Can tourism really vanish overnight? And what fills the gap in the meantime? Meanwhile, wealthy neighboring countries aren't sending as many visitors anymore. Canada and Mexico have started keeping many families at home or sending them to friendlier spots. In Europe and Asia, people are skipping the US middle-class stops in favor of places like Greece, Portugal, or Japan. It isn't just a change in travel. It is a signal of shifting trust. America isn't as desired as it was. Diplomacy feels the damage too. Some countries have quietly advised their citizens to be careful when traveling to the US. Others have said, maybe try somewhere else. This year, quiet warnings are turning into loud boycotts. The US isn't just losing visitors, it's losing goodwill fast. Terms like travel boycott, border warnings, or skip America quietly appear online. That is not marketing, it is political. At the same time, visa fees are climbing. Some new fast-track options now cost nearly $1,000. For average families and students, that isn't just money, it's a deal breaker. If tourists stop coming, who pays the bills back home? The dominoes didn't just fall, they collapsed. The engine that once powered local businesses, national parks, entertainment, hospitality, it is stalling, sputtering, gasping for breath. Communities that once rang with chatter are now counting losses and wondering when the next visitor will walk through the door. But what if that visitor never shows up again? What if the trust is already broken? This broken machine is still stopping, slowly but surely, and it needs fixing, or many towns, workers, and travelers may be left behind. And now, here's a fresh blow. Premium fast-track visa interviews are costing up to $1,000 on top of existing fees. That price tag isn't just a number for families, students, and business travelers, it's a barrier. What used to be a watch list trip has become a wallet-crunching decision. What used to be an easy visit now feels impossible. So what happens to towns that relied on cruise ship schedules when those docks empty out? The dominoes aren't just falling, they've completely collapsed. Something that used to feel safe and reliable now looks brittle, and that silence in once bustling tourist spots rings louder than any alarm. There was a time when people didn't just want to visit America, they needed to. The idea of it lived rent-free in their heads long before the ticket was booked. A place where movies came to life, where freedom rang loud, and where everyone was welcome. But now something is taking all that away from us, slowly and painfully, and the charts are all the evidence you need. Did America hand away the glue that held the world close, one policy at a time? Because this isn't just about policies, it's about perception, and once a nation loses that, it's almost impossible to earn it back. For decades, the US focused on building its global image through culture and commerce. It sent out Hollywood dreams, tech empires, music, jeans, and fast food. But it also exported its factories, its labor, and eventually its attention. Now, it seems even the hospitality has been outsourced. Only this time, not by business decisions, but by attitude. At airports and embassies, travelers aren't greeted with smiles anymore. They're met with suspicion. Long lines, confusion, confusing rules, rising fees, and stories of being detained or interrogated have replaced the warm welcome. What used to feel like a gateway now feels like a gamble. People who once dreamed of seeing the Statue of Liberty or walking through the Smithsonian are now in a state of trepidation. Not because of money, not because of distance, but because of discomfort. Because the trust they once had in the experience is fading. How can a country inspire others if no one wants to come see it for themselves? And that leads us to a bigger question, one we may never find answers to. If people no longer feel safe, seen, or respected when they visit, have we, without realizing it, chosen to be unwelcoming? Make no mistake, because this isn't about numbers. It's about connection. And when connection breaks, rebuilding it isn't a matter of opening borders. Whatever they'll do to restore belief might end up a white elephant project. $12.5 billion. That's not a small dip. It's a deep cut. But beyond the dollars, beyond the flight cancellations and the quiet museums, something more troubling is happening. The world is quietly turning away. And it's not because they don't love what America offers. It's because the welcome feels worn out. And the longer we ignore it, the louder that silence becomes until no one's left to hear it. In place of openness, there's tension. In place of excitement, there's hesitation. This has moved beyond just a tourism issue to a national concern, a reckoning. The way visitors are treated now says more about America's future than any press release or airport banner ever could. Fixing this will take more than brochures and ad campaigns. It will take humility, listening, and real change. At the gates, at the visa offices, and in the hearts of those making the rules. Will America rebuild the bridge it once offered the world? Or will it let suspicion, silence, and missed chances widen the gap? Right now, the welcome sign is still up, but the porch light is flickering. Now, the clock is ticking. Now flights are still empty. What path will America choose? Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think America can still be a home away from home?